Welcome back to Wellness Lenses. Are you ready to learn the secret to reaching your full potential and releasing a wave of motivation that can't be stopped? If so, you're in for a nice surprise. Today, we're going to go deep into the complicated world of dopamine, where we'll figure out its secrets, debunk its myths, and find the keys to a balanced life. Get ready to go on a trip that will blow your mind and change the way you think about your own brain for good. So buckle up, because we're about to leave the ground. Dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter in the brain that is very important to how we feel pleasure and, more importantly, reward. It works like a chemical messenger, sending texts between various brain cells and affecting things like movement, learning, and motivation. Dopamine is released when we do things that gives us pleasure or rewards. This gives us a feeling of satisfaction and makes us want to keep doing those things. People often call it the feel-good neurotransmitter, but it does more than just make us feel good. Dopamine is the key to figuring out how our brain's complex reward circuitry works. When we get a rush of dopamine from doing certain things or taking certain drugs, we may be tempted to try to reach that peak again. Unfortunately, having these dopamine-releasing experiences over and over again doesn't make us feel as good as it used to and makes our dopamine levels drop even more. Dopamine is important for feeling pleasure, but it's also important to keep in mind that big jumps in dopamine levels can have unintended effects. In an interesting twist, too much dopamine release can cause baseline levels to go down over time. This happens when we keep doing things that gives us a lot of dopamine because we want to feel the same way we did when we got that first high. Unfortunately, this can use up our dopamine stores and make us feel less happy and motivated in general. So, even though dopamine is a strong force, it's important for long-term health to seek pleasure in a balanced way. The good news is this: there are things we can do that will give us healthy, long-lasting increases in dopamine without causing our baseline levels to drop. We won't talk about some of the more obvious things you can do to raise your dopamine levels, like exercising. As you probably know, dopamine and other endorphins are released when you do physical activity, which makes you feel good and happy. Dopamine levels can also be raised in a long-term way by doing creative things like painting, playing an instrument, or writing. Getting lost in a meaningful task or hobby can put you in a state called flow, in which time seems to fly by and you feel very satisfied. These activities not only give you a steady dose of dopamine, but they also help your overall mental health and help you grow as a person. But let's look at a more surprising way to raise dopamine levels: exposing yourself to cold. You may have heard about this, and it's completely true. Dopamine levels can be raised by taking a cold shower or soaking in an ice bath, which has both mental and physical benefits. When you go into cold water, your body releases dopamine, which causes its levels to rise and stay high for a long time. This effect lasts for a long time, which is why many people feel better and have more energy after being in the cold. Taking cold showers or soaking in ice baths might not be everyone's idea of a good time, but they can have a big effect on how much dopamine is in the body. So, as I've already mentioned, dopamine is released when you get into cold water. This causes its levels to rise and stay high, which can be good for your mind and body. This new way of doing things not only wakes up the body, but it also gives a natural boost to mood and motivation. So, if you want to try something new, why not give it a shot? Another surprising way to get more dopamine is to be kind and help other people. Dopamine can be released in the brain when we do things for other people, like volunteering, helping others, or even just being kind in our daily lives. This not only makes you feel happy and fulfilled, but it also strengthens your relationships with other people and gives you a more positive view of life. Kindness not only makes someone else's day better, but it also gives us a natural and long-lasting dopamine boost. Lastly, trying new things and exploring can make dopamine come out. The brain's reward system can be activated by doing new activities, going to new places, or even looking for new things to do in familiar places. Trying something new, like traveling to new places, eating new foods, or learning a new skill, can give you a rush of dopamine and make you feel excited and curious. By using these unusual tricks in our daily lives, we can find new ways to raise our dopamine levels in healthy ways that lasts. So, be brave enough to take cold showers, be kind to others, and be open to new things. It will be good for your brain and your health. Now that we understand how dopamine affects our brains, it's time to take advantage of the moment and put what we've learned to use. Look for a wide range of things that make you happy, and share what you've learned with others to raise awareness. Don't forget that each of us is a unique tapestry of hopes and dreams. By learning about and taking care of our own dopamine pathways, we can reach our full potential and live lives that are meaningful and satisfying. Thank you for coming along with me on this interesting tour of the world of dopamine. See you in the next video.